did say go?
Yes. 15 seconds ago.
All right, well, here we go. Every time. Every time. Good morning, everybody. Nikki Burnett here. Today is Taste Life Nutrition radio and podcast streaming live on KUHSdenver.com. Today we have Dr. Dustin Reif, who I have been super excited to have on with us. Met Dustin a few months, gosh, it's not even been that long ago now.
Month and a half.
Has it been a month and a half? A few months, month and a half. Anyway, we've gotten to spend some time together and chitty chat about, life and science and all of the good things when it comes to health and wellness. So Dr. Dustin is a chiropractic neurologist or neurological chiropractor.
Yeah, just chiropractor. I do have a basis in neurology or foundation in neurology, but really all chiropractic's rooted in neurology.
I mean, it kind of has to be, right? It is. It's connected. Anyway, so that's the cool stuff. Is what's so fun when I get to hang out with people like Dr. Dustin. Is my mind always goes to the biochemistry. He goes to the biomechanics, but it's all so intertwined, and I think it's really important that we keep that as our mindset, especially too knowing that everything's connected. And so I'm excited to dig in a little bit, but of course, as always, we start the show with gratitude, because gratitude can change the world. So, what are you grateful for?
I am mostly grateful. I love living in Colorado. So
Yeah?
I've been here as of September. So really grateful to be here. I mean, the weather's gorgeous. Grateful to be supported by a lot of friends and my God, of course. And grateful for the freedom and flexibility I've created in my schedule. I get to hang out with my kids a lot and choose my own schedule a lot more than most people. So I'm grateful for that.
It's so good. Being an entrepreneur, it's really hard, but it certainly has its perks when it comes to scheduling and that kind of thing. At least it can, and sometimes you overschedule yourself and you're like, where did my free time go? But
that is true.
That is also a thing. Yeah. So anyway, well, cool. Well, let's do this. Want to jump into a little bit of your background.
Okay.
How you got to this place, what motivates you, what excites you, and what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, cool. So I started out not a very healthy kid.
Me too.
Yeah. C-section baby, and probably caused a lot of the health problems.
Will you explain why?
Why? Okay. When you pull a baby out by the head, and they do this even in non-C-section babies a lot now. If you watch the videos, the amount of pressure and force that they're putting on those ligaments in the neck, you stretch that spinal cord. I don't know if you've ever stretched like a speaker wire. People still have speaker wires, but
wait, what's in that, Bluetooth?
Yeah, no. They used to be connected by wires, and if you stretch them, the information didn't transmit across those wires very well, and so that's gonna be the same thing in your spinal cord. And now you've got this growing and developing baby that's gonna 5x the size of its spine in the first 7 years of its life, and it's all stretched out and injured already. And it's got to do the job of all the regulation and all the communication. I mean, it's just not going to work as well. It's not going to work efficiently.
Yep.
And then you combine that with a bunch of the toxins that are in our environment, and now we're setting up these kids to just be sick.
And let's add to that the fact that if you're not going through the vaginal canal, you're not getting inoculated by mom's microbiome, right?
Absolutely.
So you're actually getting inoculated. Come toward me just a little bit. Sit close to me. You're being inoculated by the environment in the surgery room.
Yes.
Essentially, right?
Which is sterile usually.
It's sterile, or you have other people and what they're made of, and anyway, so it's important to, whenever possible, to go through the vaginal canal so that baby is inoculated by mom. That's the way that it's supposed to be. I also learned the other day, what's so cool is, we know how interesting or how great colostrum is. Colostrum it's immunoglobulins, but it's also there almost entirely to feed that new microbiome.
Yeah.
There's no nutrient
Create
density to it. There's no vitamins or minerals or something like that. Yeah, but it doesn't really nourish the baby. It builds the immune system, but it's there to feed the microbiome. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, there's so many little pieces.
Yeah.
That have been taken out by the way that we do things, and they all fit together so much to create this beautiful thing, and we just like pick the ones we want.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you build a campfire, you have to do all the little things, like all those little extra little annoying things that, like, if you just leave one out, now all of a sudden your fire doesn't ignite, or it doesn't keep going, or it doesn't, like, so it's the same thing with babies.
Such a great way of putting it.
Yeah. And so from there, I was on all kinds of antibiotics and ear infections and all the things that typical kids are dealing with these days, vaccinated. And about age 10, luckily, my mom was diagnosed with lupus. Not luckily that she was diagnosed, but the answers that the medical profession gave her caused her to seek other forms of healthcare. And so she started seeing an acupuncturist, and not too long after that, I had a back injury that put me in a chiropractor's office. And between those two things, like, everything, my body just started functioning. I no longer had allergies and constant sinus infections. I no longer had leg pain that was just constant, where if I tried to go play a game of soccer, I couldn't. I had to sit down for hours just to let my body recover. I no longer had asthma. I no longer needed an inhaler. Like, all of this stuff just started going away. And I was like, what have we been doing? You know? And so that caused me to want to be a chiropractor. I graduated high school thinking I was going to be a chiropractor, but didn't love the science classes.
Really?
Yeah, I hated them. And I was like, I guess I'm not meant to be a chiropractor. So I went the business route. I joined the Navy. I did a bunch of other things. And then around age 26, 27, I started seeing a chiropractor. And he kind of convinced me that, like, just get through the science classes. The rest of it's fun. And I ended up going back to school and going to chiropractic school. And now I've been a chiropractor for a little over a decade, 12 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really love teaching people how to take better care of their body. One of the, I think it's an African proverb. It's like, the man who has health has but 1,000 dreams. The one who does not has but one.
Yeah.
Like, you can't enjoy life if you're not healthy. If you're worried about, oh, my knee hurts and I can't get up and go chase my grandkids, or I can't go play golf, or I can't, like, whatever it is you want to do, if your body's healthy, you can go do that. I snowboard. I'm 43, and I chased my little 8-year-old son all over the mountain. If I wasn't physically healthy, I wouldn't be able to do that. And it's such a cool thing. It's like one of my favorite things to do. So that's really my passion, is helping people get healthy so that they can enjoy life, whatever that looks like for them. It doesn't have to be what I was.
Well, and that's so much of what we talk about here on the show, because I want people to be, I want to be optimal, right? And I want people to be optimal, because when we are optimal, we do well, we serve well, we love well. We do all of these things to our best, because we don't have something that, is that weight that just keeps taking us down, whatever that weight is, right? And so, one of the things that we talk a lot about also is our health is physical, mental, and emotional, but it's spiritual, and it's financial, and it's relational. And so it's not that we can always be 100% in all of these areas, but we have to look at all of these areas as our health, and how can we optimize them to the best of our ability. And a lot of time we got to find our team of people who can help us to do that. And so what's fun is, as I said, starting out is, I tend to look at kind of the biochemistry. He looks at the biomechanics, but it really is so important that it all comes together. And then however else you're building your team, it all comes together, because the biochemical and the biomechanical are very much intertwined. Yeah.
Yeah, and if one's not functioning well, it's going to cause the other one to not function as well, and it's going to cause more stress on the overall system. And the biomechanical and the biochemical, then there's that energetic flow, like the part that we can't really see or haven't figured out a way to measure effectively. But either one of those are going to mess that up. And then if that's not flowing, it's like, you just have to get all the pieces working together, or just causing more stress on the system. So that's a big thing I talk about, is like, how do we decrease the stress on the system? Because when the system is stressed, it's not healing. If we can decrease the stress overall from many different angles and many different ways, now the body's going to function better, it's going to heal better, it's going to move better.
I think that so often we hear the word stress, and stress to many is life stress. It's work, it's family, it's the job, it's the kids, it's the whatever it is that's going on at that point. But stress is also when you're out of alignment, it's going to be stress. When you have symptoms, when you have disease, that's going to create stress. And so, or if you're not in spiritual alignment, right? All of these things create more and more stress that will manifest in more dysfunction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have really two places of operation. We're either operating in a stress state, in a survival state, or we are operating in a healing and productive state. You can't be in both at the same time. And so what we don't realize is, like, another stress you didn't mention is chemical stress. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We get in the shower, and if we're in city water, there's all kinds of stuff in there that doesn't belong in our system. Then we go and we dry off with a towel that's, had a dryer sheet on it and all kinds of chemicals there.
Don't do dryer sheets.
Don't do dryer sheets.
Just don't do them.
Yeah. I've done them for, I don't know, a decade. I promise.
You'll be fine with that. Yeah. Get the little wool balls. I like the wool balls.
Yeah, and you can put essential oils on them. And actually have, your clothes not infused with chemicals every day. That's how we got to do it. It's like little by little, you've got to decrease your exposure to these chemicals because it's a toxic overload in your system. We put antiperspirant on, so like one of our main detox pathways, we're just shutting it down.
It's insane.
It is, and that's just your morning. Then we go and drink coffee, and often that coffee's been doused in pesticides, and we're just washing those pesticides into our morning drink, and then we get in traffic, and then we spend most of the day away from our loved ones. So it's like you get all of these little stressors. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Your body's just in a constant state of stress, and it can't heal. And when it can't heal, now that's when we start to see the symptoms. That's when we start to see the disease. We see the dysfunction, and that just perpetuates.
So then we don't take the time to be still, and then we start to have symptoms, and we take the drugs and the NSAIDs and and then we have to power down, so we go have cocktails, right? It's interesting if we really just sit back and look at our day. I think even those of us who are pretty aware of our health, you might go, holy smokes, what more can I do to allow my body to be in a state of health, or continuous state of health, instead of just constantly strained and stressed.
And it's a simple formula. It's not simple to figure out how to do it, but really we got to put more good in, which is a lot of people are good at, and especially if they're listening to this, they're probably already doing the supplements and the nutrition and figuring out how to put more good in. But how do we put less bad in, and how do we get that bad out? And that's where I feel like is just under, I don't know, promoted in the world. Because I know people, I have patients, I have friends who they're doing the celery juice in the morning, they're doing all the supplements, they're eating right, but they've still got these health problems, and it's because their detox pathways are not opened up, and it's because they're so gunked up by all of the different things that we do, and then also you've got the mental gunk. So I like to talk about the power of words, right? We don't.
Oh man,
we undervalue that so much. Our words create our reality. I'm sure you're familiar with this, but the water has memory experiment, right? And so, for those of you listening who don't know about this, a Japanese scientist studied water and would say different things to it, like love and joy and high vibration words, and then flash freeze it, and then take a picture with a microscope. And it would be beautiful and symmetrical and look like these just beautiful snowflakes. And then said words like hate and jealousy and all these negative low vibration words, and they would be all in disarray, and there's no symmetry. And if you think about that, every cell in your body is made mostly of water. So every thought you have is either creating this harmony or it's creating this disharmony in your body. And so what are you allowing in by what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're talking about? Are you talking about all the things that are going wrong in the world? you're not doing yourself any good, and you're just
Mhm.
attracting more of that and creating more of that and perpetuating more of that.
Yeah.
And so that's a big piece I like to talk to people about is, you know, recognize and honor the power of your words and
Mhm.
how you're creating your reality.
Yeah, to yourself as well as to others, right?
Absolutely.
So even the quiet words, and this is something I talk about this a lot because it's made such an impact on me, and so people maybe get tired of hearing it, but I don't, sorry. But I think it's so true because my mom, you know, sweetest, most God-fearing, amazing person would always talk so poorly about herself. Always this negative, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough. She was so smart. She was so smart. But she always had this I don't know if it was insecurity, I don't know what it was. And so that was me. It was me all the time, and I started realizing what she was doing. So it helped me to, and of course, and I was getting into, you know, health and wellness and realizing the impact that it made on her, and that it could make on me. And so it's still something that I have to constantly be aware of. But the thoughts that I'm saying to myself, and then of course to anyone else, yes. But it's a lot easier to talk really great to other people than it is to yourself. Because you have these sort of quick thoughts that are the negative, and then I have to turn it around. Like, that's just not true, right? Yeah. And we have to make sure that we do that because it will break you down.
It will, and oftentimes it can be slow and subtle, and you don't even realize it. And maybe you're just saying it like as a joke. Like maybe you spill your coffee and you're like, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, you're not an idiot. You made a mistake. Like,
you are human.
Yeah, you are human. Like, oops, and move on. Like, how you treat yourself in that moment is big because all of your cells are listening, and they're all going to function way better with love and with kindness. And so, I mean, yoga talks a lot about this. It's like when you fall out of that pose, don't get mad and like curse yourself, right?
Just go back.
Yeah, that's defeating the purpose of being on the mat. And,
yeah.
You got to love yourself, and like that's why you're there. So it's the same thing in all the rest of your daily life. You got to be careful of those words and what you're saying.
Word detox.
Word detox. Yes. Words are very, very powerful.
They are. I think another thing, you know, kind of getting into detox, and I was talking about this sort of in my promo. You know, I think about detox. It's liver and kidneys and skin and lungs, right? You know, it's respiration. You know, this is our detox, and what we often see as detox also is it's a quarterly or a yearly thing that we do. I'm gonna do a detox.
Oh yeah.
You know, when it's every day, every second, our body is looking to get rid of what it's not supposed to get rid of. And so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about being in alignment biomechanically to help perpetuate good detox. And along those lines also is making sure we're pooping every day. So if you're not in alignment, you may not be pooping well every day. You know, you're sitting there going, I need my magnesium, or I need my bowel mover, I need my whatever, right? And all of these things to get things going, because if you're not going at least once a day, that's a problem.
Big problem.
Big problem, yeah. And so what if things are out of alignment, and that's all you need is to get back in alignment, to make sure that you're detoxing by pooping, right? So these are things that we have to do. I mean, it's a daily bodily process. So what do you do for helping people to kind of detox every day?
Okay, so a lot of pieces to that. Your brain controls every cell in your body, and the only way it can communicate with all those different cells is through your spinal cord. And so if there is stress and tension on your spine, your brain is not going to communicate as efficiently and as effectively as it can, which means now the cells are not going to function effectively, and so that's going to lead to more stress and then all of those things. So a lot of people, or there's kind of this misnomer that chiropractors think chiropractic can heal everything. Well, that's not the way that we say it. The human body can heal everything, and it's designed to heal when you give it what it needs. And one of the things that it needs most is a high level of communication between the brain and the body. And so I see tons of babies that were like, oh, they haven't pooped in a week, and we give them an adjustment, and they have a massive blowout, like within minutes of the adjustment.
That's
So like,
amazing. Probably not fun for you, but it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not usually cleaning up the mess. It's usually mom, so doesn't. And usually mom's pretty happy. So
yeah.
So we know that it works. There's no placebo. I'm not explaining to the baby like, oh, you're gonna poop after this, and they poop. You know, like it happens because now all of a sudden their system is functioning better. So yes, I mean, being in alignment, I get adjusted once a week. I will get adjusted once a week or more for the rest of my life because I know how the stress of our daily life and all the things that we do that we're not designed to do accumulates in the spine.
Yeah.
There's tons of studies out there that show that it only takes about 13 to 15 days for that degenerative process to start in the spinal joints when those joints get stuck and get misaligned. So, and it doesn't take much to stress the spine to get it to that point, especially as much as we sit at a desk, sit in traffic, all of those things, and we're not moving, and then going back to like we're getting exposed to all these chemicals. So the spine's under a lot of stress. So absolutely, chiropractic is my main thing as far as like helping the body function better. Detoxes, I did a lot of different detoxes over the years, like 21-day juice fast, or you know, this fast where you're taking this supplement and all those things, and those are good because a lot of people need to jumpstart it. I've gotten to the point now where I don't do any of that stuff, probably in like 2 years, because my diet's gotten so clean. I'm regularly exercising and moving. I'm drinking plenty of water. I don't drink alcohol. I don't like sugar. We call alcohol and sugar poison in our household. Like that's the way I want my kids to understand it because that's what it is. Like it's socially accepted, but it really is poisonous to the body.
Yeah.
And so, because I've been doing that long enough, I don't think I need the detoxes as often. But I highly recommend, you know, juice fasts and doing those detox programs, enemas. Like you've got to like do those things to get
the coffee enemas.
Yeah. And yeah, just getting your pathways opened up. And it's like a jump start kind of. But then you've got to take that and you've got to start putting the bad stuff back in. So being aware of the chemicals that you're being exposed to. Being aware of what foods actually are foods and what foods are actually just chemicals disguised as food. If it comes from a drive-thru or a gas station, it's probably not real food. I can almost guarantee it.
Unlikely.
So I start my day with lemon and lime and a little Celtic sea salt and some water, and start that. Like do that, and then give yourself at least 30 minutes before you eat or drink coffee or anything like that. My diet is mostly fruit. I know a lot of people.
Your diet is mostly fruit?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would say probably 80% of it is
like
fruit.
Sweet fruit or like avocado fruit?
I do some avocados, but not a lot. It's mostly apples. I like apples, bananas, blueberries, oranges. Like I brought a lunch today, and it's 2 apples and an orange and some blueberries. Like everybody's like, oh, wouldn't you be starving? Well, yeah, at first because your brain has like been convinced that it needs all this protein or all like this big full meal, just because you've been conditioned that way. But like now that I've gotten my body clean, like that's a lot of fuel, and fruit is really like the most. It only gives you health. It doesn't like clog you up. It doesn't like even like let's say I eat some bread, right? Bread was designed for a time when we as humans were starving, and it fills your belly, but it really doesn't offer nutritional value beyond that. So if you go from eating sandwiches every day for lunch to fruit every day, you don't get that like tight, full feeling in your belly, and so you think you're hungry, but you're really not. Like you're not nutritionally deficient, and you'll be fine if you can like move past the mental part of it. There's the other myth that it spikes your blood sugar and it causes all these blood sugar problems. I have a friend who has type 1 diabetes, and so he had a monitor on, and we would have these conversations because he's like, well, no, my doctor's telling me I can't eat that stuff. I can't. I was like, just try it for me. And we were close enough that he was like, all right, let's do it. And so he ate a banana, and of course it did spike a little bit, but then it dipped down below where it was, and it stabilized for hours.
Okay.
And so because the food industry, the medical, I don't know who's perpetuated this, but they want to say that fruit sugar and sugar, man-made cane sugar, is like in the same category,
Mhm.
they're not even, like
No.
they should not even be discussed in the same conversation. The way that they cause your body to react and cause your, like, disrupt your endocrine
Mhm.
system, like it's completely different. When you eat a whole fruit and you get all that fiber with it, it actually just creates all of this health and cleansing within your body.
So I don't want to disagree with you at all. I think, though, only because of my own experience and what I'm learning, you know, I think so much of that is based on genetics too, or epigenetics, right? So for me personally, I had a grapefruit by itself, nothing else. I spiked to 200.
Really?
Right, and so I'm watching my glucose monitor. So if you haven't heard of a continuous glucose monitor, it's a great way to understand food and what it's doing to you.
Yeah.
But I watched it spike me to 200 and sit there, and I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's not good. But I also know, so I have an ApoE44 genotype, and that's what it does. Is I think that saturated fats aren't bad unless you have an ApoE4 genotype, or there's some other SNPs that can perpetuate, the saturated fat. It's more of a lipid issue, right? For me personally, as well as then those glucose spikes. And so I would eat simple, really, even tomatoes,
Really?
which is fascinating to me. If I'm not careful about how I am eating my foods together and some of these higher carbohydrate foods, it super spikes me. And part of that too can be just that I think that I'm healthy. I mean, I am healthy, relatively speaking. Labs are good, all of these things are good. But I think that there's a piece of that is still not quite where it's supposed to be. That I'm working on currently in understanding my CO2 levels. So when am I burning fat, and when am I burning carbs, and what does my glucose look like after I eat, and how can I stabilize it? And all of these things are not as easy as you would think they are. It's
right.
Pretty fascinating stuff. Yeah. So
what do you do that helps stabilize?
So a couple of things: eating carbs and protein. So I eat protein, and then if I'm going to eat a carb, especially say I eat even berries. But if I want to eat something that's higher carby, sugary carby, it's protein, and then I'll do some apple cider vinegar or some cinnamon, because that will blunt that spike. And then I'll do the carbs, because we got to have the carbs, right? I don't think that ketosis is a way we're supposed to live life either, not all the time.
Right.
So, but then I'm keeping my carbs and my fats apart.
Okay.
Right? And so those two energies together, and I know this mostly for my own genotype, my own ApoE44. I'm not saying that this is for everyone, which is why I think it's a really important distinction to understand that what I'm saying is for me, and then we'll continue to learn for all of these other genotypes that come into play, because that's what's so important about what I do and about what you do, is we're looking at that person not as all of these other people or a whole bunch of ApoE44s. It's you're an ApoE44 or 43 or whatever the case may be, and then all of these other things, right? My perimenopause comes into play, and my in-body comes into play, right? It's all of these things that you can put together to help. But to see in real time when you have these massive spikes, you're like, holy smokes, how do I manage this? Yeah. And so it's time consuming. Yes. But it's fascinating, and it's been eye-opening. And so what I know is, when I'm working with people, as you do, I want them to understand their body now and for the rest of their life until the day they are taken to heaven, right? And so that's what I'm doing for myself right now, but it also allows me then to dig deeper. It's taken me to a whole different place when it comes to working with people on an individual level, and understanding this. So that's what they can do, and that's what I can do, and that's what they can teach their kids to do, is let's understand your body so you can optimize for as long as you're here, and just teach that. And I love, you teach your kids that sugar is poison. People are like, oh yeah, sugar's bad for you. you can call sugar poison. That makes it.
It's different.
It's great, and they hear it. I mean, I hear them. I'm like, kids don't talk the way your kids talk. It's pretty awesome.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's important. I do think it's important for everybody to know that you are you. You're not everybody else.
Yeah. Well, you've got to find out what works for you. He actually found that having a little like half shot of tequila before he eats actually like helps stabilize his blood sugar as well.
That's so interesting.
So like, you know, I'm calling alcohol poison, but it's helping him. So it's not, it is super, super individual, and that's what you've got to work towards getting is like, this supplement over here is not the magical bullet that's going to make you healthy. It's combining everything. You've got to get more good in, yes. You've got to get the bad out. You've got to decrease the bad that's going in, right? And then that's really the simple formula. But especially when it comes to food, it's so different for everyone. What I can say, what is consistent is you've got to get more real foods.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, without a doubt.
It can't be coming from a box, and it can't be a bunch of ingredients that you don't recognize and you don't even know what that is. Like when I get peanut butter from the store, it says peanuts. You know? Like that's what the ingredients should be. So that's an important piece, but I mean, there's all kinds of things like the blood type diet. I did that for a while, and you know, saw some good changes, but then eventually it stopped. I was vegan for almost 2 years.
I was vegan for a year.
Yeah, and like it does give your body a reset, so it can be good, but I feel like I hit this wall, and like all of a sudden, like, why am I fatigued all the time? Why am I?
It's a diet. You know, they can be therapeutic diets, but they're not. I don't think they're a lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing when I did my first 21-day juice fast. My friend does them a lot, and I called him and I was like, okay, so you get to day 10 and you're like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. And then you hit like day 12 and it's like, oh my God, I feel amazing, dude. I felt like a teenager again. I had just like all this energy. And so that perpetuated and that went, and it was only going to be a 21-day juice fast, but then I was like, well, I feel amazing. And so I went to like day 28, and man, I just hit a wall so hard, like I had no energy. And I called my friend and I was like, dude, what is going on? He's like, how far did you go past day 21? And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, your body can't sustain on juice for that long. Like, it's good to cleanse, it's good to detox, but it's not a sustainable diet, right? So there is that, everything has to be balanced and everything has to be moderated.
It does, and that's what so many people will say. Well, everything in moderation. I'm like, that's so relative.
Not poison in moderation.
Right, exactly. But yes, I think one of the things I want to get back to real quick, not real quick, but when you're talking about opening up drainage pathways, I say that a lot, and people are like, what the hell are you talking about?
Okay, so think of your lymphatic system as like the sewage system of your body. It runs along all the blood vessels, it runs along all the muscles, and it is kind of like blood vessels. The only thing is that unlike the arteries, they don't contract on their own. The only way that they contract is from the muscles contracting around them, from the movement around them. And
so if you don't move, what's going to happen?
Yep, your lymphatics are going to get stopped up. Your circulation gets stopped up, which then also perpetuates the getting stopped up of the lymphatics. So one, we've got to have them not clogged, right? So if you're using any kind of antiperspirant, don't. Just anti is one of those words that you should eliminate from your vocabulary anyway. So we need to sweat. Sweat's important. It's one of our detox pathways, right? And so, and I know living here, I don't sweat near as much as, you know, living down south because the air's so dry.
Yeah, it's a different world for sure.
So that's something to consider. Like, I'm not sweating as much as I was, so I've got to figure out other ways to open up those pathways and make sure they're moving. And really, it is movement. Contraction of your muscles is very, very important. If you have a seated job, you should get up and, I shouldn't say should, it's helpful to get up every 45 minutes and walk around, and do some squats or do something, move your body.
It's the movement snacking or the exercise snacking or something.
Yes.
Like, you've heard that?
Yeah. I like that. That's really good.
So
you need a little exercise snack. Get up and move around.
Get up and move around, and every hour, every 45 minutes, whatever it is, do 10 squats, do 10 push-ups, do 30 squats, do a minute of squats, right? It's just movement on a regular basis. I have a you've seen it. So I have a rebounder at the house.
Yeah.
And that's, if you have a rebounder, go get up and jump on it. If you don't have one, go get one. But that's great for movement. So your calves are moving, and then you're going up and down. So it's great for blood pressure, great for blood sugar, great for lymphatic drainage, all of those things. It's
when people get really stuffy and it's lingering chronically, that's what I tell them to do. Get on a trampoline.
Love that.
Go for a run. Do something where you're bouncing.
Yeah.
Because if your sinuses are stuffy, that's a telltale sign that your lymphatics are stopped up and it's backing up into the sinuses.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
I love these little clinical pearls. These tricks and these tips that are super helpful for people. People are often stuffy or runny, and I think that we're like, why is that? Or we don't ask the question why, right? And we're just like, I'm going to go take a pill or take a whatever.
Shut it down.
And shut it down instead of understanding what the problem is.
Yeah, and you're shutting down your detox pathway, right? Like our kids get a cough, so you give them a cough suppressant. Well, now our kids have this toxin in their body that they can't get out. And so now we're harming their immune system, we're shutting it down, and so it never gets a chance to grow. Same thing with adults, like, oh, I got a headache. Well, you're probably dehydrated. You can almost get 90% chance you're dehydrated and you need an adjustment. But instead, take a Tylenol. Okay, well, now I'm not feeling it anymore. Okay, the problem's gone away.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
The problem is still there. You just can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like if you're driving down the street and your oil pressure light goes on, and you're like, I'm just going to take this little piece of duct tape and tape that over there. I don't see it. It's fine. It's fine. Oil pressure's fine.
It's so true. It's so true. Along the same lines, though, is a fever.
Right.
And fevers can be hard because they're uncomfortable. They can come along with a headache. They can be painful. But fevers are the body working to manage whatever's going on and to eliminate whatever's going on. And what do we do every time our kid has a fever or we have a fever? Oh, I got to squash the fever.
Yeah, you don't.
No.
I don't. I have 4 kids. They're 4, 6, 8, and 10. And I've never tried to squash their fever. Like, we might put them in a shower, or we might use some essential oils if we feel like it's getting a little bit out of control. But we're just doing all we can to support their system, getting extra vitamin C in them, or getting extra vitamin D in them. Like, whatever we can do to help support their body, rather than shut down that response.
Yeah.
And that's going. And now, like, I can't even remember the last time one of my kids was sick. Like, Jade had a little cough the other day. He's the youngest. And, a tendency for my patients or my friends or grandparents to be like, well, what does he have? Well, I don't care, like, to be honest.
Why do we have to diagnose everything?
Why? He's got a cough.
Yeah.
So obviously his body's trying to get something out. So let's support it. How can we support it? Well, he got adjusted a couple times a day over those 2 days or 2 or 3 days. We did essential oils on his chest, on his feet. We got some extra vitamin C in his water, and he's fine. And I didn't need to know. Yeah. We just support it. You don't have to diagnose and focus on what the bad is. Like, we have this, I don't know, paradigm in our society. Like, oh, I need to know what the problem is. I need to know what. Like, you don't. And if you
it's so true. Give it a name.
Perpetuating the problem. Instead, just focus on supporting and focus on the solution, and the problem will fall away.
Yeah, we have to give it a name and then take it on as an identity, and then it does, it perpetuates it instead of saying, okay, what can I do to support my body to eliminate that symptom? Or just ask, I say this a lot too, but I think it's so important. If you are struggling with something, ask why. It's always asking why, always digging deeper and understanding what could be causing it, because the body doesn't decide just to get mad to get mad. There's a reason it's mad. Is it detox? Is it toxins? Is it, microbes? Whatever the case may be, there's something that's making it mad, and we got to figure out what it is so we can support it. So maybe we can eliminate whatever's making it mad.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is where I talk about, like, we've talked a lot about physical detox, and one thing I wanted to talk about was like the mental detox.
Yeah.
Right. We've talked about energetics a little bit, but meditation. And there's so many people that are so resistant to meditation.
So resistant.
I don't know if it's like you see it in the movies and you like see this person elevating above themselves. You're like, that's just weird and voodoo. But it's not that. Like I think I got this from either Joe Dispenza or Brendon Burchard. I can't remember, but it's just a 2-minute little meditation when I'm moving from like work to kids or kids to work, or an argument with a business partner, an argument with your spouse, and you don't want to take that into the next scene. And so I will literally just put a timer on my phone. I used to do 2 minutes. I do 5 minutes now, but and I just close my eyes. I breathe in, and as I breathe out, I say release, and I'm just releasing that because you hold on to that.
Yeah.
Right? It's in your cells. It's in your vibration, and you don't want to carry. Like I don't want to carry stressful work stuff into playing with my kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And same thing. My patients don't deserve whatever I've got going on at home. Like it needs to be separate. So when you get when you can make meditation a regular part of your practice, like your stress levels, I mean, they're gonna go way, way down. It's such a big bang for your buck if you can like make it a regular thing. It's stressful to try to figure it out. It's stressful to try to figure out how to be quiet in today's society. I've got 4 kids. You think it's easy for me to be quiet at home? Like, no, it's not. But I shut the door. I lock it. I say, kids, I'm meditating. Don't, unless this house is on fire or you're bleeding, don't touch this door for the next 20 minutes. And they do. They respect that. And they're seeing like, oh, meditation is a cool thing. And they've started asking me like, can I meditate with you? Like, so,
that's awesome.
You're creating this. It just creates a whole different level of peace everywhere in my life. And so,
I think that so often people just sort of squash the idea of meditation because it is difficult, and there's the idea that we're supposed to automatically just shut our brain down and not think to meditate. And people are like, I can't meditate because my brain doesn't stop. Nobody's brain stops. It just doesn't happen.
Sometimes I get a whole like 30 minutes or an hour before my brain finally like stops and I'm actually silent. But the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things, one of my friends said, silence is the language of God, and everything else is just a poor translation. And so like when you can find that still point, when you can start making that still point a regular part of your day, you will see life in a different way, and it's easier to make decisions, and it's easier to remain peaceful. And so if you can, and it's not push through it, like that's the wrong word, but like just sit with it. I don't know, set a timer on your phone, 2 minutes, start with 2 minutes until 2 minutes starts going by like that, because it will. And then do 5, and 5 minutes will start going by like that, and then 30, and then like I'm at the point now where I can do a 60-minute meditation and feel like I've been there for 30 seconds.
Wow.
So
that's a long one.
But it's really like it's so decompressing. And so valuable to me being able to remain calm and peaceful, especially with my kids, but just in life in general. Traffic.
Yes, man, traffic. And I think also finding your favorite way or place or position or whatever. People think that you're supposed to sit with your legs crossed and your fingers and the whole thing. My favorite place is sitting in the sun.
Yeah.
I will go outside. I will lay in the sun. I will take as many clothes off as I possibly can. And, another thing that I say a lot, but I think it's important to find your spot is, to me, this is God's hugs, right? You can feel the warmth around you. You're like, oh, this is so good. And it makes me, I may talk, but it helps me to be still. And it helps me to be quiet. Because I talk to God a lot, but it's like I'm just talking. Just stop talking and be quiet. Just be quiet, Nikki. And that sun and that warmth and that space is what really helps me. Like I'm craving it right now. Like just get me outside. I know.
I feel the same way.
I know.
But that's another thing I start my day with, is prayer and meditation. So prayer is me talking to God.
Yes.
Sometimes my friends will be, they're complaining and they're like perpetuating this negative cycle or this negative relationship, and they're like, I'm just venting. Well, don't vent to another human, because then you're inviting all of their negative shit into your experience, and you're both perpetuating this negative experience with each other now. Take it to God. Vent to God in a form of prayer. Just talk like you're talking to a friend. God, this person today, they made me so mad, and like, you know, go through that. And then sit in silence. So like set a timer for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever you've got to do. And that will, you're eliminating that negative perpetuation from you're no longer inviting other people's negative energy into your stuff and having them help perpetuate your drama or putting your drama on them.
Right.
And you get a far better answer, a far clearer answer, and one that's going to like move you towards a solution from that meditative state. So I think that you just, when you said I talk sometimes but I try to be silent, I actually do both, and I do it intentionally, and I found that it works really, really well.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I tend to, I kind of tend to do both, but there are times when I feel like, okay, I've talked a lot. I need to find my time just to be silent. And so often, because our brains don't turn off, I still am not silent, but I can kind of just at least, I think what I focus on, because a lot of times they'll say focus on your breath. If I'm outside in the sun, I'm just focusing on the warmth. And it just makes me happy. And so it helps me to be calm. And I think it's just something with the sun anyway that's just calming and feels good. And a lot of times I'm on the ground, so I'm, grounding also. And so I think whatever we can do, and I think that's another important point for the energetic, for the biomechanical and the biochemical and all of it is, feeling the earth and being on the earth and doing both of those at the same time and walking in the grass. We take these things, we don't feel good, we have all of these symptoms, and we don't do the easy, free things.
Put your feet on the earth. I tell people that all the time, especially when people were dealing with COVID a lot. I feel like it was one of the best, grounding was one of the best things to combat it. There are all kinds of studies out there that show, I don't know how they measure this, but I saw the video, and like they're watching the blood flow, and you can see it looks all disorganized and like different shaped red blood cells, and they put this person's feet on the earth, and it instantly looks like symmetrical and nice and evenly spaced, and they're nice, beautiful round red blood cells, and like it was instant. It wasn't like minutes later.
I would love to see that.
Instant.
Yeah.
I can find the video and send it to you. But I will tell people that all the time when they've just had this problem on and on and on and on, or dizziness is a big one. How to get rid of dizziness.
Okay.
One of the things that I help. I mean, there's a lot of adjustments I do to help them too, but I say get your feet on the earth, right? We've gotten separated from earth, and that's part of the reason we're dizzy. Our body doesn't have that connection, and so I tell people, when was the last time you had your bare feet on the earth? Right? For a lot of people, that's weeks, months, years.
They don't think about the rubber shoes, and we're not connected at all anymore.
You go from the floor in your house to like your rubber shoes to like your rubber tires in your car to concrete. Like it's very rare that, I mean, it's better here in Colorado than a lot of other places, but yeah, get your bare feet on some grass and do that consistently for like 30 days, and I can guarantee you your physiology will change.
I've become very intentional about not wearing shoes, and it's so much better, and it feels good, even though I have this weird thing on the bottom of my foot, and so I've had to train myself for it to not hurt. It's like it's a neuroma, but it's not a neuroma. We can't figure out what it is. So it's nervy, but point to all of that is I think that it has helped. The more that I just walk in my bare feet, the better it is anyway. But having the shoes on is just, I'm being repetitive now, but it just has helped me to be more aware of taking the shoes off and keeping them off as often as possible. I have in the clinic that I'm in, I have a grounding mat.
Nice.
So I have my standing desk and my grounding mat, because we're on the second floor. So I'm still trying to hit the earth as much as I can.
That's great. I have a grounding mat as well that we keep. It goes between the office and the house, but I have put kids on it for a 20-minute session that like parents carried in. They were so sickly and miserable and moany, and they'll of course get adjusted, but then we put them on that mat, and before the 20 minutes is up, they're like bouncing, like trying to get off the mat and run around.
Fun.
Like the way that it stimulates, it helps stimulate your blood flow, and another good COVID combatant, a grounding mat, because it'll help stimulate everything and get it more organized.
Very cool. To add to that, grounding pad for your bed.
Oh, I have not jumped into that one yet.
I just did.
Did you? Do you love it?
Just did. So what I'm finding is Lowry snores less.
Really? That's good. That's impressive.
Yes, it is. So that's been really nice. But yeah, I sleep pretty well anyway, but I am finding that I think I'm sleeping deeper and I'm waking up, I'm ready to wake up
like more
and
rested?
get up. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been kind of fun. You can also so there's a company, I forgot, I need to talk about my sponsor too.
Oh yeah, do that.
Probably should do that. But there's a company called I think it's, the Earthing Company, something like that. Anyway, I've been reading his book, and so he's kind of the discoverer, right, of, which is fairly new, of the frequencies of the earth and how beneficial they are for connectivity to our bodies and all of these things. Anyway, so he has the grounding mats and pads and all this stuff, but now you can find grounding sheets. And so I don't know which one that I would prefer because I'm only just starting it, but they both work well as far as I know. I have people who have, clients and patients and friends who have gotten the sheets and are totally in love. But make sure they're good quality and
Yeah, there's like cheap imitations of everything.
Yeah.
But also there's the talk of like having things plugged into next to your bed is bad, and so that's what I wonder about. Like, is it actually using electricity, or they're just attaching grounding?
It's in the grounding.
Okay.
So it is actually going to the ground. So it's the way that it's plugged in. There's only the one side, whatever, I don't know anything about electricity, but the one side in the plug that goes in, that's the grounding.
Okay.
So
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to try this.
Yeah.
It's
good. It's good. What time is it? So I think that, time flies, right?
Yeah.
We're just having fun.
Wow.
So I get off track when I have fun, and I probably should talk about our amazing new sponsor, Susan Drake with Mountain Medical Concepts. I don't have her information pulled up, and I should, but I will post it in all of the places. She's amazing. She has several of these really cool lines, but one is a peptide line. New BioH is great peptides. I've used them in our clinic, and they're clean, they're good, they are super beneficial. So anything from like methylene blue, body compounding, BPC. There it is.
I wasn't there with the other.
BPC 157. So this is the one that kind of everybody knows about. It's called body protective compound. And it's so fascinating because anybody I've ever talked to who's been taking it, they're like, this thing has helped me so much because these peptides are, our bodies create peptides. And so peptides are pretty interesting as far as how we can, therapeutically move forward through some of these acute issues that we struggle with. On top of the, making sure you're in alignment and making sure you're not talking bad about yourself and making sure you're eating well, right? We have all of these amazing tools that are so beneficial for us and can help us. So reach out to Susan Drake. She has everything she has is all practitioner focused. And so if you have a practitioner who you work with and you want to learn about peptides, ask them about the new BioH. It's great stuff. So Susan Drake, I will post her information in all of the places where you find the show. So I want to make sure that if there's anything that we haven't covered, that we talk about it.
I think we hit a lot of really cool things. I hope people got something
that
can help them. I mean, the simple formula is get less bad in and get the bad out. I think that's where people tend to focus so much on getting the good things in or getting the supplement in or getting those things. I would just reach out to, there's tons of health coaches out there, like yourself, that can guide you through that and teach you. There's so much we learn in chiropractic school and all these seminars I go to, and I'm like, man, I wish this information was out there.
Yeah.
And so reach out. I mean, you really do need a team to take care of you.
Mhm.
Like I
Mhm.
see an acupuncturist, a massage therapist, a chiropractor. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many people that are on the team that help me function better. It's not. There's no one magic bullet to healing.
There's not. There's not. And you said to healing, it's even to optimization,
Yeah.
right? It's both. You know, everybody needs. There's so many things that I can do to continue to optimize. You know, it's like this process that I'm going through right now with learning more about my own body. You know, it's this fascinating thing. Not everybody wants to get into to the nitty gritty, but that's why you have the people who can help you get into the nitty gritty. Right?
Yes.
That's why, you know, whether it's business or health or family or life or whatever, having your team, people who you trust, is really key. You know, and my favorite way that I look at this is the first thing that I did when I started my business was I got a bookkeeper. Because I tried to do it on my own and I can't. And I don't want to, and it makes me mad. And I don't think that that's the way to live life.
No,
is mad.
not at all. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, but whatever you don't like doing, find someone else who does like doing it. Because there's someone out there who does, and get them to do that for you. And we all can get, you know, nerdy about our thing. Right? I understand the nervous system on a whole different level than most people, but that doesn't mean that I understand the whole human body, or like I can't learn.
There's always so much to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so find those people that are nerdy about a solution that will help you, and let them help you, and add that, and then you keep working and keep getting better.
Yeah. There was something that I wanted to hit on real quick, that you have fun tools. And this is the cool thing about where we are, I think, in our world of science and learning about how light is important, energy is important. And so I talk about, you know, you have a couple of tools. You probably have a lot of tools. The one is the laser therapy that I think is so fascinating. My hip is actually, I've been lasering my hip also.
Nice.
He's let me borrow his laser. So I'll say this, because I said this last week, that I have my dog with congestive heart failure. So y'all were kind enough to allow me to borrow this laser for her heart. And so a side note has been my hip. But the hip seems to be progressively getting better.
Nice.
And so Daisy's little heart, obviously we can't see if it's shrinking or what's going on with it, but she's getting her own treatment. So I talk a little bit, I'm just sort of rambling now, but talk a little bit about the laser and how it's so beneficial.
Okay. So yeah, I've picked up different things over the years and then put some things down. One of the ones that has lasted since we were students was the laser. And not all lasers are created equal. We spent about $14,000 on this laser. So if you're getting a laser off Amazon for $200, it's not doing this.
Don't waste your money.
So the coolest experience is when I was in chiropractic school still, I think I was an intern at the time, and I was changing the oil on my Jeep, and I did around the block, and I just wanted to make sure nothing was leaking. And so rather than put it up on the jacks, I lazily just crawled under there. And then when I went to get out, I touched like the exhaust of the side of my face and burned my face so bad, like disfiguringly bad, like embarrassed to go out in public, bad. And so one of the things we did was laser every day, and I got adjusted every day, of course. But by the end of like a week, 10 days, you couldn't even tell I'd been burnt. It was insane.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so
10 days is so fast.
Yeah, it was so fast, and that was when I really, like, my confidence level in the laser went way up here. And so we've used it for all kinds of different things. But what it essentially does is you have an electron transport chain that creates energy within the body, and it donates electrons to that chain. So now all of a sudden you have like this fuel at the cellular level, and so you can program it to specific tissue, like in Daisy's case for the heart. And so now we're supporting the heart tissue by just donating a ton of electrons. So now the heart has this energy that it didn't have before, so now it can start to function at a different level. And so you can do that for muscles, you can do that for circulation, you can do it for skin, you can, I mean, I've taken kids that, like toddlers that have just horrible eczema all over her body, and within like 2 sessions, her eczema is gone.
That's amazing.
Like, I didn't expect that. I mean, it was surprising, but those are the cases that just, you know, eczema is an inside problem, so there was more to that case. But if you can take that symptom away from that little kid who's no longer itchy, right, rather than using chemicals that are like trying to stop the itch, that are just adding more toxins to the system.
Yeah.
So that's the short version of the laser. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a really powerful tool. It's really good in acute things and getting rid of symptoms without having any kind of negative side effects.
Yeah. Here's what I've noticed. I think for my hip, this is, I think, an example because I'm right in the middle of this right now,
Mhm.
right? That it's been months that I've had this weird hip thing. You adjusted me, and it got better, but it was still there. So I've done the laser on my hip maybe 4 times. I've been sitting like this for basically the entirety of the show, so I've got my legs crossed. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm actually just noticing it that I don't feel hardly anything there right now.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Truly amazing. Yeah.
Because it's allowing that tissue to heal, getting those stem cells perpetuating.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but that's what. So you can program it to like muscles or just general healing or tendons or, and I mean the hip is a big place that we all carry stress and past stresses and traumas that are in there, and so it can help at the physical level release that. So yeah, you can just function better and feel better.
It's cool stuff.
I mean that I already mentioned the grounding mat. Chiropractic, of course, is a staple for anybody who comes in to my office. You need a functioning nervous system, right? And meditation's big for your nervous system. So meditation and chiropractic for your nervous system, and then movement for your circulation and your lymphatics, and then yeah, there's a lot of different frequency therapies and different things out there. Rife frequency is something I like. If you have never looked into Royal Rife, R-I-F-E, you should look into him. He discovered all these different frequencies and how they can help support or actually like cause cells to lyse, basically explode. It's kind of like an opera singer can hit a certain pitch that makes crystal break. Royal Rife discovered this, and so he has this machine, and you can program it to all kinds of different things. And the amount of cases that like were just unhealable, or these people have been and tried everything, and we use the Rife machine on them, and it like gets really good results really fast.
So I think you have to be careful too, though, because there are a lot of knockoffs.
Yes.
Right, and so that has been one of the things that's kept me from looking even into a Rife, because I'm like, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not just gonna go grab something. You can't just go get one. Or go get a knockoff, right? But this is where it's fun because you start to get in what people think is woo woo.
Yeah.
But frequencies are not woo woo, and energy is
everything
not woo-woo.
is frequency.
Yeah.
There's that famous bridge, right? Where have you heard of that one? Where I don't want to say it was the 40s or 50s, and because the construction site nearby had hit this exact pitch and frequency, it made the bridge actually start waving, and it actually collapsed.
Wow.
So it's because that frequency lined up and got it moving. There's video of it.
There's 2 videos you gotta show me now.
Yeah, 2 videos. I'll show you that video. I'll have to look that one up. I can't. The name is escaping me. But I'm sure if you just hit those buzzwords like frequency and bridge collapse and bridge wave, it created this like sine wave within the concrete of the bridge.
Well, not cool, but
yeah, it wasn't cool for that.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody was hurt because there wasn't anybody on the bridge. But yeah, I mean, we literally everything is frequency. Everything is frequency and vibration. Your cells are frequency and vibration. That's like we've gotten it down to electrons and protons. Like even this chair, right? Like I'm hitting it and it's stopping me, but it's really just a bunch of electrons spinning around.
It's crazy.
It's a vibration. And so that is another cool aspect that people miss. Is like you are your vibration, and everything that you're doing is contributing to that vibration. Yeah. And then that's going out to everyone, and that's how people are going to experience you. So the better you can get your vibration, the cleaner, the more positive, the more loving, that's going to attract people to you, and it's going to attract good circumstances to you, and it's just going to attract a healthier overall being, and it's going to make people want to be around you more. Obviously, than you don't want to be that dark cloud.
Agreed.
So I don't know, got a little off topic there, but
I know. No, it's good. It's good. I like it. Off topic is always fun. Yeah. So tell people how they can find you.
If you go to empowerco.me, so empowerco, like Colorado.me, that's my website for my office, if you want to schedule for chiropractic. And then Dr. Dustin Reif is my Instagram handle. I haven't been really good about putting stuff on there, but just transitioning to Colorado and stuff, and so that will we'll start pumping some more stuff out there and more videos that can be helpful.
Cool.
Working on a book that will hopefully be released in the next 2 months.
Oh, that fast?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm already
Amazing.
past deadline, so, but it's just like I read it and I'm like, this sucks, and I like redo it. But I think hopefully it will be out in the next couple of months, which is going to talk about a lot of the things that we talked about today.
Cool.
And help people understand their body in a different way so that they can make better choices without having to ask practitioners, right? They just have a better knowledge. You know, like if a mechanic, something happens to a mechanic's car, they have a different progression of what they're going to do versus, you know, if you don't know anything about the car, you're like, oh, shoot, now I got to take it in and
call my
spend
mechanic.
a couple $100 to find out that it was like a $10 fix, you know? Like,
right.
So that's what I want people to have, that understanding of their body so that they don't have to immediately go and spend money, and they can make healthier choices and help their body in different ways, you know, like the grounding or like the other free things that we've talked about.
The free things are some of the best things.
First, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And see what you can get. See what kind of benefit you can get.
Cool. All right.
This
was so good. This is
so
it.
Good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. And of course, thanks for joining us. We're here every Thursday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, streaming live on the one and only KUHSdenver.com. You can go to my website or any of the social, which is Taste Life Nutrition. You can fill out a free assessment. Hoping to have some fun, cool things come out soon, kind of along the lines of what you said, some things to help give some guidance. I haven't put anything new out in a while, and it's about that time. So I've been working on a few things. But anyway, we have a lot of really cool things coming up for the show and then for the website and for the business. So let us know if there's any way that we can serve you. If you have questions, if there are people who you love and we should talk to them and have them on the show, then do that too. So grateful to have you, and we'll see you not next week. We are actually going to Kansas for the holiday, so we'll be back then the week after. So see you later. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've been meaning to tell you that we kind of last minute decided to
go visit the fam.
Go